Hello and welcome everyone to the Alliance live show number 67. We're super stoked today because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got a new character coming into the game, a much awaited character, as I'm sure you all know, unless you've been sleeping under a rock. We got Darth Revan coming into the game, so it's time to get excited. It's time to get Hero's Journey ready, I think, guys. And, we're going to go ahead and dive into this conversation here in a moment. But first, before we get there, I do want to introduce my good buddy and fellow game changer, good old Maurice. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a Sunday night, and I'm excited because, it looks like we're probably going to get Jedi Revan here over the next couple weeks. So, obviously, on Friday night, I'm sure just like I was, you saw the post on the forums, and you saw that triangle that looked like a Christmas tree, and you're wondering to yourself, like, what is this? And, I'm sure you scratched your head, and I scratched my head, and, we had to wait until somebody much smarter than us figured that out. And then when we saw that, it was basically a what would you call it? Like a cipher?
I don't really know. There's all sorts of this video that came out has been broken down and analyzed by dozens and dozens of YouTubers. It's just been broken down. A little 25-second video that we've probably all watched at least an hour of footage on. It's pretty all sorts of things.
Yeah, I mean, it was like basically a cipher that kind of led us to a URL that at the end of the URL, the letters were spelling Jedi Revan backwards. And then when you clicked on that link, it brought you to a video, the video that you're talking about that everybody's been dissecting here over the last couple days, because we don't know what kind of event we're getting here, right? I mean, we're looking at that video, and it looks like they emphasized the word hero. And they kind of stayed on the screen there, which makes you believe that maybe they're talking about, Revan being a hero because he's a Jedi, or it means that they're talking about a hero's journey event. And then they talk about, and then you see this creature at the end, a Terran Tarek, I think it's called, and that is from the lore a beast that Revan fought inside of Naga Sadow's tomb. In Legends. And if you look at that video, I gotta tell you, it kind of looks like he is walking into Naga Sadow's tomb. Now, again, I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know if those were like Sith symbols on the wall, or I could be wrong. I'm just going off of what I want it to be, and I'm just trying to think that they're going to try to reenact something that happened in Legends, and kind of like they did with Trey's Academy for Nihilus and Scion in that raid. So I'm thinking that this creature, it's a dark side creature that feeds on Force sensitive beings. I have a feeling that Revan, in order to get him, you're going to have to fight this creature. So, I mean, do you think this is going to be a raid? Do you think this is going to be a hero's journey event? Do you think this is going to be something like we got with Mother Talzin, where we'll have to fight a glowing table, and try to defeat that table to get Talzin shards? I don't know. I mean, that was Talzin, or was that the zombie shards? I forget.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think it's the zombie one. I could be wrong.
The zombie one is the glowing table. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I do you think it's gonna be something like that? I mean, do you think we'll have to fight this monster, every couple weeks to try to get a few Revan shards?
I don't know. I think, what was it, the Jedi Academy the other day? I think you mentioned it could be like a Wicket type event, or Talzin does have that once a month event. I think Grievous is on the artwork with her, where you go in and you complete it and get your 10,000 shards and call it a day. It could be something like that. It could be, a lot of people are speculating a new raid is coming, and a new raid may be coming. But this, I believe, is the post for the upcoming quarter. So if just because we get this video now doesn't mean anything is coming like right away. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's It could be,
Doesn't mean
but
doesn't mean that it's not coming right away.
Yeah, I was trying. Yeah, way to word that, but yeah. Wait.
But yeah,
so clearly we're going to be able to get Revan somehow, or at least begin accumulating shards within the next 3 months. So we'll see if it's a legendary event or a heroes event, and if it's coming soon. Those KOTOR characters will be awfully difficult to get the 7-star. So.
Right, and that's my fear here. Is, I mean, I'm not really so concerned. I've been farming Bastila and Jolie now for a couple of months, so I'm not quite as concerned about them. I'm more concerned about Zalbar. I mean, Zalbar and Mission and T3, because now, you know, you're talking about we've just got these characters. I'm nowhere near ready with Mission or T3. Now, they're Cantina nodes, so you'll be able to get them a little bit faster, probably in a couple of weeks. You get them. So let's say the event lasts 7 days and it comes, let's say 2 weeks from now. That gives us 3 weeks total to get those characters done. That might be possible if you spend some money, but getting Zalbar done in 3 weeks is going to be a monumental task. Where is your Zalbar right now?
Jolie was. Zalbar is almost probably halfway to 6. But like we were talking before the stream, I'm hitting his fleet node and his light side node, then refreshing his light side node. I really, really like Zalbar, the character, so I was going kind of nuts on him as soon as he was put in there.
He's a great character. He's great character. He's great to have no matter what. So,
but regardless, I mean, it's Zalbar, Mission, or excuse me, Zalbar, Bastila, or Jolie all have the same farming spots. So, I mean, it's just whichever character you like the least is going to be the one that's going to hold you back, because they're all on a single hard node on the regular energy and then one on the fleet side. So I mean, I guess the best advice to do is just get them all. Just, you know, farm Bastila, Jolie, maybe hit Zalbar twice, and Zalbar gets the 5-star move to the next one. You know, just kind of take them all up to 5-star. If it's a hero's journey, I mean, one 7-star character is the same as having 0. So, I mean, I don't really know how to advise people, because I mean, I hate to say to go all in and spend all your energy getting these characters ready, and then he comes out as a raid reward, you know, and especially if you don't want these characters, you panic farm them for no reason, right? Like the community kind of feels like they did kind of get us on the Han Solo characters, you know, like a lot of people are speculating now that Smuggler's event is what we needed the Han Solo characters for, right? So, you know, prepare, but I wouldn't go nuts until something is confirmed.
Well, what I want to do is I want to take a look at the video here so we can kind of talk about it a little bit more. So I'm just going to go ahead and play that Revan video that we had here, and we'll see kind of where that's at. Okay. It gives you goosebumps, man. It gives you goosebumps. I gotta tell you, I'm gonna watch it again. This looks like he's going into a tomb to me, and it kind of leaves the word hero there. So,
well, I mean, that could mean one of two things. Like, we're either getting the light side version of Revan, or that it is indeed a hero's journey. Right.
I mean, do you think that we could be looking at that being Naga Sadow's tomb? I mean, do you think that creature is guarding his tomb? Because I mean, listen, what I was saying in one of my videos earlier this week is, you know, the rabbit hole goes really deep with these KOTOR characters. I mean, we could feasibly eventually get Naga Sadow in the game. I mean, obviously not right now. It's not what we're talking about. But I mean, if they have his tomb in the game, and they have these creatures in the game, I don't see a reason why we couldn't eventually get some of these other characters. I mean, that's Yavin 4. where that happens. So I mean, that could also open the door for, you know, characters like XR Kun and other characters like that. So I mean, I don't know. Again, that's a little bit further down the rabbit hole. But I'm saying, I mean, do you think that looked like a tomb he was going into? I mean, just looking at that video, I mean, that didn't look like a Jedi structure. That looked like he was walking into like a Sith temple, right?
Yeah, I don't I don't know what we're getting. You know, to be honest, I mean,
that looked like it looked like a Sith temple. I think that behind that creature, there's something behind there. It looks like a light shining from behind him. Maybe that is like literally like right on Naga Sadow's tomb, and that creature, the Terran tech, is guarding it, like it is in Legends. That's kind of what I think is going on there. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I am nowhere near ready for this. So I mean, I'm kind of hoping that it's not a Hero's Journey event. I'm kind of hoping that it is a raid or an event where we get the character over time. Because if it's a situation where it's only going to be available for a few days and then I'm not going to be able to get it, I'm definitely not going to be prepared to get him the first time around. And I mean, it would be a really, really, really serious investment. And as much as I want to make it, I mean, it seems like I would get to the point where, you know, you're going to get, you know, the worst part about making that investment is like, let's say you decide you're going to spend $300 or $400 to get the character. You know, what ends up happening is, you know, you get there, you spend $300, and then now you realize you're going to come up a little short. So it ends up becoming $400. And then when you get the character done, you know, then you're not talking about just, you know, you're not going to just leave the character there in your inventory at gear 7. You know, you're going to want to get the character done. So then you're talking about buying gear. You know what I mean? So it becomes a really deep thing. You know what I mean? So I mean, before it's all said and done, I mean, maybe you budgeted yourself to spend $300 to get the character done. You end up spending $600. You know, and that's a lot of money for digital content. I don't know. I mean, again, I've said to myself, like, Revan comes to this game, take my wallet. I've said it, okay, and I feel like doing it right now. I mean, I had my finger hovering over the vault, buying a vault the other day. I was literally about to do it. So, I mean, I feel like, you know, every day that I'm not farming some of these characters, I'm probably going to buy a vault this week. I mean, just anyway, to start farming Zalbar, Mission, and all them, because I want the characters regardless. But I'm just saying, whenever we find out, like, how much time we have and, you know, what packs are coming out, etc., I don't think that will even scratch the surface. I think that, you know, you're looking at least, you know, if you're at a normal pace, if you didn't already 7-star these characters prior to the event, I mean, you're probably looking at, you know, where a normal person would be at right now. Let's say you even have a 7-star Bastila, or you're close to a 7-star Bastila, you're still looking at like $400, $500 to get those characters 7-star, and that's saying that the event is going to be easy, like some previous Heroes Journeys events, when, you know, there's a good chance that you could need them to be gear 10, gear 11, gear 12. Who knows how hard the event's going to be. So there's a lot of variables to consider. So, I mean, how are you going to play it? You going to play it safe and just kind of play it for the next time, or you going to...
Well, I mean, I'm not going to push it. Like I was kind of mentioning earlier, I would hate to just go absolutely ham and take him as high as I can, and then Revan's like a raid reward. One of those Wicket type event rewards. Just a random... Who knows? There could be a new TB coming, and Revan can go straight to the guild event store. I mean, there's no sort of... There's no way to tell. So I'm like I said, I'm slowly farming them. Like Cantina, I finished mission to 5, so I moved to T3 now. When T3 gets to 5, I'll take T3 to 6 and go back to mission, finish her to 6. Just kind of slowly take them up all together. In the event it is a legendary journey, I'm not going to get the 7-star, but at least, you know, I'll definitely have the 5-star. 6-star, depending on when it comes out, will be iffy. But, you know, just trying... I guess I'm preparing for a legendary event to be safe.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the.
Again, I love these characters. I think Zabar Mission are awesome. Jolie and Basila clearly are great. I mean, they make the Jedi faction. T3 is a good character. I just I haven't fooled with him too much, but it's got a really good kit.
Yeah, no, T3 I think is going to be amazing whenever droids get some love. So, if you watched Arnold T101's video earlier this week, he made a video about his channel blowing up if they don't rework Grievous. I mean, I don't think he'd be speaking like that. Something like that wasn't going to happen. I mean, what do you think? You think he has some insider info?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. We got Night Sister login. Night Sister Spirit is the login of the month, and last year about this time is when they brought out the Talzin, the Asajj, the whole reworks. So we could be getting something separatist related. That's a possibility. This because it's been a year, we might be getting a new Night Sister or something. Who knows? But I think they've got to rework Grievous at some point. They have to. Too many people just constantly complaining about how bad Grievous is. He's the hardest farmable character to obtain. So it would be nice that if you do go after the trophy and get him to 7-star, you can actually put him to use.
Right. As soon as I saw that as soon as I had a chance to go a few minutes ago, I should have just totally exited this match. Especially with Biston in here. It's your boy.
Oh, look at Biston doing some work.
Yeah. I went full scoundrel on this team. Ah, Biston. Frenzy. I mean, speaking of Biston, Frenzy. I mean, why don't they put that on another character? I mean, everything else, even Burning now, has been used again, right? It's been repurposed.
Bosk has Frenzy.
Bosk has Frenzy?
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah, he gets Frenzy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the only two characters that do it, that have it.
I could swear I don't remember that, but okay, Frenzy. Where does he what ability does he get Frenzy?
The taunt.
Oh, right here, the taunt. Then gains Frenzy and taunt for 3 turns. Okay. So, wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. So they did add somebody with Frenzy. Oh, I took off his mods. That's why he stinks.
I was about to say, you want to mod him up a little bit before you take him in.
You know what I did was I set up like mod loadouts. So somebody has his loadout right now. Bosk's loadout is right here. It's on Nihilus right now. So I could give it to Bosk, but I think I'm going to leave it on Nihilus for the time being because I'm going to switch characters in a moment. By the way, guys, if you have any requests for teams that you'd like to see, please type it in. Okay, I see here IG-88, T3, R2-D2, L3, BB-8. Can you try the droid team? Sure. So if you have any other teams you'd like to see, then we'll go with that. So let me see here.
But in the event that Revan is a raid reward character, you want to talk about shaking up your comfortable guild now? just everyone flocking to get him, just like they do every raid. Most people are saying it's too soon for a raid, but we're approaching the 4th year of the game. The Rancors come out, the H8, the tank raid came out, and the Sith raid came out. That's an average of 1 raid a year. So it's not unrealistic to think that one is coming-ish. Don't expect it next week, but a new raid is not unrealistic.
It's not unrealistic, but I just feel like whenever a raid comes out, there's a lot of hoopla around a raid coming out. When the Sith raid came out earlier this year, there was they flew us out. It was a big deal. I don't think that they're just gonna drop a raid on us like next Tuesday without there being like some word of like testing and some. I mean, there'd be some hints. I mean, remember when the AAT raid came out? We got a video for it like 6 months before the raid actually dropped. That was a mistake. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they should have done that because people were really like waiting for that raid for a long time. So I don't think they'll do that again. But yeah, I think that it could be a raid, but I think that I don't think they're gonna let us know about that raid this far in advance of that raid coming, because there definitely wouldn't be a raid dropping anytime soon. It would probably have to be sometime in December at the earliest. So I think it's going to probably be a hero's journey. I think it's just going to be a hero's journey, and or it's either going to be a hero's journey or it's going to be what we discussed. It's going to be like an event that returns periodically, kind of like Endor Escalation or Defensive Dathomir. These events where you can get shards for Mother Talzin or Wicket, and get the character built up that way. Now, if that's the case, that's cool. But I think some people are going to be really pining for Revan. Now, I hope that they have it tiered. So based upon how many stars you have the characters at, I discussed this on the Jedi Academy live show. It would be cool if they set it up so, let's say you had 5-star, KOTOR characters, Old Republic characters. You could get, let's say, 5 Revan shards for the event for that. Let's say it's 6-star KOTOR characters, you get 10 Revan shards for that. And let's say it's 7 7-star characters, then you could get maybe 15 or 20. And then this way, each time the event drops, you're actually working your way up. So there's a benefit to having the characters already 7-starred, so you can get more shards. Or they raised the difficulty, right? So it's tuned, let's say, for 7-star Gear 12, and if you're able to get it done with 6-star characters, then you can, but either way, if they do something like that, I think that would be kind of cool. I mean, where like you got to go in there and try to get, Revan over time. That'd be I would like it if they did that.
Well, I mean, yes. And then what they could do is, the event comes around maybe once, twice a month, hell, even once a week. I mean, whatever, like a Sunday event where you go in and get your 5 Revan shards, and then you could refresh the event for an astronomical amount of crystals, like that Talzin event. What is it, like 760 or 80 crystals to refresh that event? For 10 shards.
Yeah, and
you pay like an ultra premium, but I'd have to do the math. But it still could be.
But for Revan, it's worth it, right? Like, I mean, like I'm not doing that for Night Sister Zombie shards, but for Revan shards,
it's a better deal than the marquee packs.
Yeah,
like I mean, it's a better value than the marquee characters. I mean, sure, those marquee packs, you can land the big Kahuna and get the whole character, but the likelihood of that happening, I mean, it's posted in the game is, half of a percent. It's not very common that happens. So.
I love this map, by the way, the Star Killer base map from the Rey Hero's Journey event.
Yeah, this one is cool.
Yeah. Let me throw a smoke screen. L3.
Nathaniel Morgan says they said they weren't doing the reoccurring event thing again. Well,
they said they weren't gonna. They said they were gonna undo it with those characters, but they said they would revisit it possibly down the road. So, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, I think that you're right. I mean, they didn't do it right the first time because they kind of. The way the event, it has to be scheduled correctly. It can't be a situation where, you just throw an event out there willy-nilly and then, like, you have to wait 3 months to get another 6 shards. You're talking about getting Mother Talzin in 4 years. That's not really that great or exciting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, that's kind of how it was kind of working out at the beginning. So, So if they set up the event correctly from the beginning, where it's like, let's say the event comes back every week or every other week, and you know that it's going to be like on Friday night, midnight, the event is dropping, and you got to get your characters to 7-star to get to the next tier, then people will be panic farming these characters over the next 2 months, especially the hard node farms like Zalbar, Jolie and Bastila, to get them ready so they can get the higher tier for Revan. So I think it should be something like that. Because again, I feel like Revan is too big of a character, because especially if he's a hero's journey. that means he's just as big as Luke. He's just as big as Rey. Basically. So I think it'll be really disappointing if only a small amount of the player base was able to get him the first time. I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. Listen, they're helping fund the game for everybody else. So that's great. But what I'm saying is that I think that it should, for the people that have been farming already, in anticipation, there should be some way to get there. You should be able to get close. And maybe start to work the character up. It would be nice if they introduced it in like a different way. I kind of like the idea of the Mother Talzin event. Just I feel like they have to introduce it the right way, and I don't think they necessarily did that correctly the first time, and I think they kind of admitted that. So if they decided to do something like that again, I hope they do it correctly this time. Maybe it's
the first time Talzin was released as if you don't buy her now, you can never get her, with the exception of this event, right? So Talzin was released as a purchase-only character that you could only obtain through this event. And then they're like, just kidding. They put her in a hard node.
Just kidding. So, yeah, no, that's kind of what they did. Listen, it's happened a few times. Remember Baze? I have a guy on my shards spent $1,500 to get Baze Malbus because the drop rate was ridiculous. And
the Mother Talzin incident was upsetting. That one upset me a little bit.
And then Baze went into the shard shop for free, like 2 weeks after that, and I got him the 6 stars for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
some Bronzium pack pulls.
Some Bronzium pack pulls. I was able to get Baze like almost done. So that would be really upsetting to me if I just spent $1,100. I remember somebody did that. Remember Magma Trooper came into the game. When Magma Trooper came into the game, he was a Chromium exclusive, okay, and he was a Chromium exclusive for like 48 hours, and then they dropped him into the Galactic War Store, like just after he was in the Chromium pack for 2 days. So like guys like Yo-Yo Yoda, they spent $300 on getting this guy, $400 on getting this guy to 7 stars because he was a new character, and then he was dropped into the most plentiful store in the game, the Galactic War Store, like 2 days late, literally 48 hours afterwards. So listen, that could happen to anybody. Listen, you remember what happened to us with the Erodium characters? They just gave them away, but 2 days is something else. That's not fair. That's not fair. Yeah.
You can get that 2-day edge in arena with Magma Trooper that takes the average player, 18 months to put all those stun cuffs on him. So you get 2 days.
Listen, I think you got to find like a happy medium somewhere, right? Like I think the people that have been farming the KOTOR characters already because they kind of saw the writing on the wall should benefit from that, and there should be some sort of benefit that they'll get the characters faster. And there should be another way to do it that allows the other players to kind of get them over time if they're not there, because it's a hero. If it's a hero's journey character like Revan, we'll have to see. Now he would also be the first. This would have to be the first time that we released the first iteration of the character through a hero's journey, which is another thing I want to discuss. Is that basically, when we got Rey's hero's journey and Luke's hero's journey, there were already younger versions of the characters in the game from other things. So Scavenger Rey came into the game, at the beginning when the movie dropped, The Force Awakens, and we already had Luke Skywalker, Farm Boy Luke, from the beginning as well. So, I mean, do you think that the first iteration of Revan is going to come from a hero's journey event? I don't know, because they've never done that before. They've never just given us a character for the first time as a hero's journey. Normally the character's already in the game, and then we get a hero's journey event for that character. So that makes me kind of think that he's going to come a different way also. Now, I also think it's kind of close to. I don't see them giving us a legendary Chewbacca and then 2 weeks later saying, here's another character, you know, you can get for 7 stars. I mean, I just don't see them giving away 2 characters like that.
No. I remember with the CLS, it all started with the flash events. You remember those? You used Farm Boy Luke to kind of run through his story. So, I mean, perhaps, you know, Revan comes out in a, you know, a Wicket type event, and you slowly get him, and then you get some flash events to use him, and, you know, I don't know. I have no idea. Those flash events were kind of goofy. Like, they'd be live for 2 hours, disappear for 6. Like, they tried all sorts of things with those. But
yeah. So let's dive into. I want to do some more battles. So guys, if you want to see some specific teams, you know, we've got the whole roster open tonight. So we got you know, Chewie. If you want to see some Chewie combinations, we can throw some Chewie combinations out there. Maurice can set up some different defenses for us to play against. So if you do make a request for an offensive team, you know, also request a defensive team. We'll try to put up a team against that you'd like to see. So if you want to see a Traya defensive team, you know, we have one up already with Nest up there. We could try that out. You know, just let me know what you want to see. But what we're going to do now, if you guys have those requests, type them in, and when we get back from the meta report, we'll do that. I want to do the meta report right now, so we're going to dive into that. And then once we get done with the meta report, we'll come back, we'll do some battles, and we'll also get into the Q&A segment of the show as well. So let's go on to the meta and the top 5. So, one thing that kind of, this is the top 10 leaders at rank 1 here. One thing that kind of screams out to me here is that we're seeing more Asajj Ventress on the list here. So, I mean, I guess maybe it's just because maybe the Night Sister Zombie rework. I think that's really just more of a thing where people are just kind of breaking out their Night Sisters now because Night Sister Zombie got reworked. So, I mean, other than that, not a lot of changes in the leaders at rank 1. Any comments you have here, Maurice, from what you see? I mean, it's really pretty much the same thing from last week.
yeah, and I think you're right about Asajj. I mean, the Night Sisters are better. They are usable in Arena, but I think it has a lot to do with people just testing and seeing. I don't think it will stick. We'll see. Maybe I'm missing something. I used them a couple times in Arena, and they work better, but they're still, I mean, I didn't put a lot of effort into it, but it wasn't real consistent at all. You still can't, I mean, you got to beat Traya, you know, so I don't think it's going to stick.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next slide here. And now we're going to be looking at top squad members at rank 1, top 10 squad members here. Now, there is something interesting to talk about here, and that's the appearance of Chewbacca. So Chewie, after his legendary event, is now in the top 10 squad members at rank 1 at what looks to be rank 7. So he's surpassed Han Solo and CLS, and he is ahead of...
I think you'll see a pretty steep increase of him just because of the newer shards. You know, you still have to gear him up. He's not, you know, super easy to gear. He's not extremely difficult, but he's not like, oh wow, just like all the plus signs line all the way up. You still have to do a little farming for him. You know, the guys that got him at 5-star will start getting him up because characters like Darth Nihilus, Darth Sion, Darth Traya, especially Thrawn. I mean, these characters are not characters that are accessible to newer players. And Chewbacca, I mean, if you just started and you're one of the 10 people in the arena shard with Chewbacca, even at 5-star, you are lighting your shard up for months. You know, like there's no Basla, there's no Traya. you're just running amok with CLS and the Han and Chewie at 5-star. Just tearing everybody up. That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'd love to see Chewie, kind of get more of a home here, I guess. So it was actually rank 8 that he's at right now, but he's got a lot of uses. I just feel like, because of the current meta, there's not a lot of pieces around him right now that are really meta. So again, it's one of those things where I think that his role will continue to grow over time. I think his time to shine isn't necessarily yet. But I just saw a comment in the chat here. Vestara says, "What if the Terran Tech becomes tier 8 of the pit raid?" That would actually be kind of cool, right? Like if they repurposed the pit raid because it's so dead right now that they kind of added like another level to it, so that everybody started doing it again. Now that would actually be pretty awesome. Do I think that they're going to do that? No, but that would be kind of sick. It would be almost like when you beat Mario Brothers at the end, you get to do it all over again, but this time all the characters are different, all the opponents are different. The second time you go around, that'd be kind of cool. But no, it's probably going to be something completely different. Although that'd be kind of awesome. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, not much change here. Really, Darth Nihilus still at the top. Darth Sion behind him. Darth Treya, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Sith Trooper. Really, the main 5 are still the mainstay. Emphy's Nest right behind them. Emperor Palpatine continues to slip. And Chewbacca making a push. So I think that we'll see a little bit more Chewbacca over time here. But again, I don't see the Rebels or the Scoundrels really taking over the meta anytime soon. So I think that he'll kind of hover in that 7 to 10 range. I don't see him really getting much higher than that, at least while the Sith are at the top of the meta. We're going to have to wait and see, though, what happens here with the Jedi and how quickly we get Revan. So if Revan comes over the next few days or the next couple weeks, that could change things as well. So we'll have to see. I don't think that Revan is coming into this game to sit on the bench. I think that Revan is coming in to change the meta. So whenever Revan comes in, it's going to be a big deal, and the characters around him will be meta. So you'll be seeing this whole list change. It'll be Grandmaster Yoda, it'll be Bastila, it'll be Jolee. I don't know what the synergies will be. They'll probably add a synergy for Knights of the Old Republic. So Revan will probably have a leader ability that helps KOTOR characters. So characters like Mission Vow, Zalbar will get a boost for Revan, and also there may be some sort of unique tied to the Jedi as well, and part of his leader. So I mean, it's gonna be, he's gonna probably have both tags. He'll probably have KOTOR tag, and he'll also have a Jedi tag. So we'll have to see. But that's our top 10 squad members at rank 1, and that's our meta report for this week. Let's move on to the top 5, and this week we got top 5 Cantina characters. We figured it was kind of fitting, being that you're going to be farming, some Cantina characters here over the next few weeks for Revan and things like that. But I mean, this list is basically for overall, top characters. So we're looking at top Cantina characters, period, that you can farm that give you the most value out of the Cantina. There's so many characters now in the Cantina nodes that you got to pick 5 to go for first if you're an up-and-coming player. So let's go ahead and dive in here. At number 5, who do we have here, Maurice?
Number 5 is going to be, how about L3?
Bang.
L3 is number 5. This is actually is a character that is a newer character. Doesn't really apply to the Revan hype, but this is a character that's extremely versatile, extremely tanky. Does a heal for the Scoundrels, can revive droids, has lots of synergy, can be used on a multitude of teams, just all over the place. Just a great character, countering character. I believe it's offense down on the basic. You got the taunt, you've got the prepared mechanics, just all sorts of goodies wrapped into one droid. Pre-taunt starts the match with a taunt, so that's always helpful.
And L3 kind of pumps up throughout the match, so you can kind of jack up L3's health. And L3 does have a an ability to taunt manually, and then there's also, I believe, a dispel as well. Correct?
Does she have a dispel? No, yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, she cleanses every time you hit
Right.
L3. She will cleanse a scoundrel. Yeah, I forgot to mention that for sure. Yeah.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's also she's part of the Lando's Millennium Falcon, which is a great ship. So,
right.
So I mean, absolutely, definitely a character you want to get up there. Again, if you're in the midst of farming KOTOR characters, I'd put L3 on the back burner for now. But this is a character that I'm going to be working on too. So, absolutely, L3 at number 5 for top 5 KOTOR. Top 5 Cantina farms. So let's move on to number 4. And who do we have here? It is Kira. So Kira has a ton of tricks up her sleeve. She calls an assist. She also dispels. She has a leader ability, probably one of the best leader ability for scoundrels in the game. And she's overall just a fantastic character. I mean, she adds some viability to the scoundrel faction. Before we got Jango Fett, I would have said that she was probably the best leader out of the faction, and some people would still argue that she is anyway. I think that she has a tremendous amount of potential. Calling an assist is always a huge benefit, and being able to dispel taunts. I mean, overall, she's got a nice kit for sure.
Yeah, indeed.
But that's our number 4 Cantina farm for the game. What's our number 3 Cantina farm, Maurice?
I believe number 3 is going to be Ezra.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ezra's not only is he a Phoenix, and Phoenix is generally regarded as the go ahead and first week in the game, go ahead and start your Phoenix, get you all sorts of stuff. And that's true, but Ezra really shines now with this Bastila team. Just lots of damage. He has a dispel, has a interesting, arguably the best assist mechanic in the game. Just a great all around character, like the true essence of a all around attacker. Does a little bit of everything. Pilot for a pretty good ship. Just yeah, I mean, double tapping, basic stacking offense, all sorts of stuff in his kit.
Everything. He's basically a juiced up version of Qui-Gon Jinn. Okay, He calls an assist. He can double attack on a basic, doing a ton of damage. He dispels. He can get basically. I mean, how much turn meter does he get when nobody's buffed? Is it 100% turn meter?
I think it's 75% with that Zeta.
Right, 75% turn meter. That's a ton. And
yeah,
I mean, being able to target ally assist is pretty sick ability in this game. That's something that was probably heavily desired when the game first came out. I mean, Qui-Gon Jinn can't do that. He just calls in whoever's going to come in. So with Ezra, you can pretty much pinpoint Yoda to come in for the assist every time, and Yoda's going to gain a turn meter bonus every time he does a basic attack. So that's going to help your team out tremendously. And if we're talking about a new Jedi meta, this guy's definitely going to be a part of it. So if Revan gets into the game and he has any kind of benefit towards the Jedi, I guarantee you Ezra Bridger will be a part of those squads. So
absolutely,
this is one of the characters that you have to get. So that's our number 3 best Cantina farm out of the Cantina nodes. Now moving on to our number 2 Cantina farm, we've got Death Trooper. So Death Trooper is basically Death Trooper's my boyfriend. Okay, let's just be real. All right, I honestly, I love this character. I was super stoked about this character coming into the game in the first place. When they first talked about Death Trooper coming in, I had known about it for a few months in advance. I'd spoken to one of the developers about it in California, and I knew that Death Trooper was going to be coming around the same time as Krennic. And I had been super stoked about it. I didn't get any of the other characters from there because I was really waiting for Death Trooper. I thought he was going to be part of one of the tournaments, so I was kind of holding out some of my ally tokens for a Death Trooper tournament. And then, when I heard he was going to be a marquee character, or somewhat, what ended up becoming marquee characters at that time, that was the first time that they kind of hiked up the pricing for the characters after the Erodiums. So that was when they introduced the Citadel pack. And if you go back into my video inventory, you can find a video about that Citadel pack. I don't want to really talk about it right now, but I was disappointed. Nonetheless, I did not get a chance to buy Death Trooper. I was able to get him to, I believe, 3 stars or 4 stars to start, and then I had to wait and farm him just like everybody else. But he is the ability to stick Death Mark, which is a counter to so many characters in this game. Enfys Nest, Darth Nihilus. Basically, Death Mark can defeat some of these really tanky characters that get tons of buffs. Also, he has the ability to AoE Dispel and increase cooldowns, which is one of my favorite abilities in the game. Darth Nihilus does it as well. And he also can stick Daze with his basic and stun a target if they're a rebel by attacking them a second time. So, or really any target if they have Daze already. So he's got a ton of great benefits, and if you get a Zeta on him with Director Krennic, he will. I believe he will revive Krennic, or Krennic will revive him whenever. Does he call Krennic in for assist? I forget exactly how it works, but basically, whenever Krennic gets damaged, I believe Death Trooper gets turn meter, and he also has the ability to revive Krennic, or vice versa, whenever Death Trooper's defeated. I think Krennic can revive Death Trooper. So it's a pretty cool Zeta, actually. It's probably the best out of the two of them. But
and he's arguably he might be the single. I don't know. That's a bold statement, but he's definitely one of the premier Sith Triumvirate raid characters. For sure, just that Death Mark mechanic. I mean, that's pretty much how you do P3. It's going to be very, very difficult to do any sort of damage in P3 without some sort of Death Mark. So,
I mean, Death Trooper is probably one of the best generic characters in this game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's also, a part of that TIE Reaper ship too, with Shore Trooper, and those two guys are both awesome. So, you should definitely get Death Trooper. You should definitely get Shore Trooper. But that's our number 2 Cantina farm. I'm pretty sure you guys are all going to know who number 1 is, because it's a double bonus. Who do we got here, Maurice?
Oh, Crew. Kylo Ren, for sure.
Absolutely. So why is he the best Cantina farm in the game?
Well, the ship aside, I mean, that alone makes it arguably the best Cantina farm. Even if you have all the Cantina characters, that's probably the one you're going to hit with your energy, right? Because you get 2 for the price of 1. But just it's going to be pretty difficult to run an effective First Order team without Crew. You do have Phasma, but Phasma's lead is far inferior to Kylo Ren Unmasked. Just a great pilot. All sorts of synergies. Gives turn meter. Gives just speed alone. All crazy amounts of protection and health regen. All sorts of goodies for the entire First Order faction. He's a must-have character. Double Zeta, maybe not. You definitely want his lead Zeta, but just a must-have character in this game.
His leader ability gives critical damage and speed to First Order allies. He taunts. He has the ability to stun for more than 1 turn. He actually stuns for 2 turns. And he also dispels with that same move. So he's got a ton of tricks up his sleeve. I believe he stacks offense or crit damage. What is it, crit damage or offense over time with his unique? I forget. But either way, he's got a ton of great abilities, and on top of the fact that he's just a great all-around character, a necessary character for territory wars, he's also got one of the best ships in the game. So the TIE Silencer, you get out of that node as well. So basically you're getting a 2 for every time you pull one of those nodes, and you get a chance to get crew shards and his ship. So it's really just a great deal. I mean, they did us a real solid favor when they put those 2 characters on the same node. For sure. So that's a great thing. But that's our number 1 Cantina farm. We do have an honorable mention as usual. And our honorable mention is B2 Battle Droid. So B2 was the premier support. Well, not, he was a tank really, but he was a premier droid when the droid meta was around. He was able to dispel. He was also an anti-evasion character. He does an AoE dispel, and he introduced buff immunity into this game. So when he first came into this game, he was able to kind of stick buff immunity on all the opponents, which prevented taunts and all these other things, because at that time, the old Ben meta was going wild with evasion. So was Count Dooku, and he was able to kind of prevent some of that stuff. And also, he gained, I believe it was, he had a 40% chance to gain 100% turn meter whenever one of his allies was attacked, and that's kind of unprecedented. If B2 did a little bit more damage, he'd probably be one of the best characters in the game. But he's got a ton of viability in certain circumstances. So right now he's kind of fallen out of the main meta where he's really a great addition to a lot of squads. But for territory wars, he does have a lot of utility, and if you're facing certain teams, you can definitely apply the benefits of a B2 battle droid to your squad to kind of keep taunts and other buffs at bay.
Well, we just mentioned Kylo Ren, and B2 is an excellent counter to the First Order faction. An excellent counter to bounty hunters, just a great plug-and-play character. Any team, you just AoE dispel, turn meter gain when other characters get hit. Like you said, buff immunity. I mean, just great utility. If you don't know who to use your fifth, I'll never forget back in the day in the arena, way back. The advice was, if you can't beat it, sub in B2 and try again.
Right. That was pretty much how it was. B2 is a great character in the game, and he'll see his time in the limelight again at some point for sure. But that's our top 5 for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did like that, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. What we're going to do now is we're going to dive into some battles. Like I said, if you guys have any requests, any teams that you'd like to see, please do type them into the chat here, and I will do the best that I can to get them in here on the stream. Also, if you have any questions that you'd like to have answered or any specific topics that you'd like to discuss, now is the time, ladies and gentlemen. So please do, discuss any topics that you'd like now. Because I personally want to talk more Revan, but only Old Republic. Okay. Yeah. No. So let's go only Old Republic. I'll go ahead and throw an Old Republic team in here.
Yeah, I saw Jay Solo mention that as well.
Okay.
Let me grab a couple of these questions. We can go ahead and start with the first one. This is from Vastar Kai. What's up, man?
What's up, Vastar?
Do you think... Hold on, let me post a couple more. Okay. Do you think that the Darth Nihilus in the Sith raid is now easier with the rework?
The Darth Nihilus in the Sith raid is easier with the rework. Honestly, I mean, that's probably a better question for you to answer than me.
Yes. Easier being more predictable. You can definitely... Seems like he almost delays the Annihilate a turn now. I mean, I am by no means a master with my P1 raid team, but I noticed my score increased significantly while I was making, quite a few mistakes in my last raid run. I mean, I came out like 4.8 mil. Like, that's the highest I've ever had in P1. And then, again, that was with a couple mistakes. I lucked out and I wasn't paying attention because I was used to the old mechanic where, you see he's got his force drain, and you see that Annihilate's low cooldown, so you don't want to gamble. So I popped my Unbreakable Will too early, and then it expired, and now I still had Annihilated. So it is much easier to predict now. I noticed in P4 when I was running the other night, it always seemed like his Annihilate happened on, I guess, it was always first up, so I never had to use Unbreakable Will. He would just naturally annihilate zombie every time. Because Annihilate was always ready when his turn popped up. So he favor annihilate. Just I don't think I ever used an unbreakable will, which was pretty incredible. That was nice. But yes, I think it is easier. That's not a bad thing. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I totally played these KOTOR characters wrong, but I mean, they definitely need something to add to their synergy too.
Well, maybe perhaps Revan, he could be a leader for the Old Republic faction, right? Like they don't have, because these 5 characters are all great characters, but they have very little synergy with each other outside of Jolee and Basla, and then Mission and Zalbar.
Right.
Like they don't really all 5 go together. They just have 2 duos in there. And Jolee and Basla's not really even a duo. He just happens to be a Jedi. But
I love how you have Gaborian Guard in here, Maurice.
Oh yeah, I should probably take that out. It seems pretty bad. Well, this would be a good one for your Old Republic characters to go against.
This will be a good one for the Old Republic characters to go against.
Yeah.
And I'll probably still lose, man. Don't worry.
I don't know. Like a Gaborian Guard.
Listen, if anybody can let us down, it's me. So Zalbar. I don't know
He's
why
a beast.
My Zalbar is not a beast though. I feel like my Zalbar, I didn't mod him correctly or something. I don't know.
Well, the scoundrels in general under Kira, you really want to focus on protection, especially Zalbar and Mission. And these are test accounts, guys, so they got all the Zetas. They're regenerating protection everywhere, all sorts of crap going on. Just
let's get
and there's a few characters I was just like spamming abilities, and I didn't even realize I put the Zeta on. I still have no idea with some of these like PAL Zeta. Like I really don't understand the mechanics of that at all. But see, you're just dropping all these dots on Zalbar over here, and every time Mission or Zalbar take a turn, they're gonna get 40% protection back because you got 4 dots out. So that's pretty crazy. You start adding these Zetas to these Hans or the new scoundrels. They're gonna be gross. Let's see. That one just came in. We did have another one. Thomas Abbott. What if the Terrantech? How do you pronounce that again?
Terrantech, yes.
Terrantech. What if that is the harder Rancor? I guess you kind of answered this earlier. Since the game is growing and they're trying to keep the newer players interested, maybe they want another easy raid for them to finish and get shards.
I think that would be great. I mean, again, like I said, I think it'd be amazing if they added another reason to do that Rancor raid, because right now, I'd say most endgame players just pretty much skip the Rancor raid, and 1 or 2 people just solo it, and that's pretty much it. But unless you really want to get rank 1 rewards for more gear. But it would be nice to kind of repurpose that raid and see, people start to try to, really care about that raid again. That'd be the first time they've ever done anything like that. So, yes, no, I think that would be awesome. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but I mean, that would be awesome.
And then we talked about this in the Jedi Academy the other day. I feel like in one of those interviews that one of you guys did with the developers, the question was asked, is there ever any, plans of increasing the Rancor, like making a super heroic or whatever, I don't know, pick a name for it, an additional harder tier? And I feel like they answered it, no, not at this time. That was a long time ago, so who knows? I would personally like to see it. I mean, I'll if it takes me 5 extra minutes to auto it and I get 5 extra stun cuff salvage, I'll take it. Anything for, because now we're getting all these characters. They spammed all these marquee on us, and that is going to empty your bank in terms of, like, let's say you've got 5 or 6, furnaces saved up. They're gone if you take these 5 characters up. So I personally need a little bit of Rancor gear. We all need stun cuffs, stun guns, hollow projectors, that type of stuff. I do not need MK4 Carbonis, that's for sure. But let's see. Tom L. Hey, how about them Browns? So assuming that Revan will change the meta, and we know that Jedi Luke will do the same when he's finally released, what's your guess on the next meta-changing dark side tune after Revan?
Ooh. I mean, I don't think it'll happen right away because I mean, I think that kind of like how Darth Trey has been in the meta for a while now, and the Sith have been in the meta for a while now because before Darth Trey it was Palpatine. I think that the next dark side character we could be looking at will probably be like meta changing characters. It'll probably be First Order related. It'll probably have something to do with the new movie. So I think that, you know, remember next year we're getting Episode 9, and I think that they're gonna. I think that's when we'll see, you know, Supreme Leader Snoke for sure. And you know, I don't think he'll be a legendary character, but you know, he could definitely add some viability to First Order. I don't know. I mean, it would be cool to see them kind of go dark side with, you know, with some of the other characters like Malik in them, but I don't think we're going to see Malik until we get Dark Side Revan, so that's probably not going to be for a while, even though it was much speculated that he was going to be coming out like with Revan. I don't think that's happening right away.
Well, yeah, I actually thought we would get. I thought we were going to use these 5 characters for Malik. I didn't think they'd give us the Revan carrot so quickly, but you know, I guess they could have, you know, 3 different carrots, 3 different Revan carrots. So yeah, new First Order is an interesting prediction. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, I think you also got to figure this. Okay, so look at what's going to be happening. All right, so we got a new TV show coming. We got a show called The Mandalorian by Jon Favreau. Okay, and we also have a new show called Resistance. So we're probably going to get some characters from that cartoon show too. So I don't know what characters that'll be, but being that it's Resistance, I have to feel like it's going to be characters. Like I think we're going to see characters like Snoke, Hux. You know, the Resistance are going to be fighting the bosses of the First Order. So I think we'll get a little bit more backstory about Supreme Leader Snoke on that cartoon show as well. That's what I think.
Nathaniel Morgan asked, "What's that green thing on the right side of the screen? I've never seen it before." I guess he's talking about the Alliance Live Show logo. I guess.
Yeah, that's the live show logo.
I guess that's what he's talking about. Mr. Wonderful pops in here. What's going on, man? How long until Revan is released, do you guys think? Well, I think by December.
Honestly, I think 2-3 weeks from now.
It could be. It could be as soon as that, as late. Yeah, as soon as I guess. Not trying to be sarcastic, but as soon as next week, at the latest, maybe Christmas. So, because all they've done is shown us a video. You know, that's all they've shown. They've shown a video, and then maybe next week, a couple weeks from now, they give us a post. You know, and then they give us another post, and then they reveal the kid, and then they show, you know, the gifts and stuff. Who knows? They could. Who knows? I mean, I don't even know where the character's coming from yet. So, makes me nervous, but at the same time excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, I mean, I'm feeling like if I don't like start panic farming Zalbar out of the shipments and getting his shards out of those crystal nodes, I don't think I'm going to get it done. So
it's foolish to assume that this is going to be like the Chewbacca event was difficult, but the characters were available. Like if you didn't have the bounty hunters, that was kind of on you. You might not have had Bosk, but you had 5 bounty hunters. And plenty of people did beat it with Boba Fett. Anybody that's played the game probably. I mean, if you've played Dark Side Territory battles, you have 5 bounty hunters. You might not have gotten the 7-star Chewbacca, but you probably had enough in the tank to get a 5-star one. And you know, this one, I would assume there's going to be some sort of panic. Like they're not just going to do that twice. Like there's going to be a panic. Like if it's a legendary event, you'll have to panic farm the characters. If it's a raid, you have to panic farm the characters. to do well in the raid to beat it, and then you get him. You know, in the event of that, like the AT-AT event, there are still people probably have 7-star Wicket but can't beat the first tier of it because their Ewoks suck. You know, I mean, I could barely scrape by that special event that comes around once or twice a month. It's because with my Gear 7-8, you know, Ewoks. But who knows? This is
when she stacks those debuffs, Mission can really do some damage.
Oh yeah.
Any more questions?
Oh, I don't see any. I was kind of scooping them up at the end here. Let me check my sheets. I think that is, yeah, we got Tom's question. I think that's it for the questions I've got here.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't foresee it being a hero's journey. To be honest with you, I think we're getting them in a couple of weeks, and I think it's going to be a situation where you are going to do some sort of an event. There's no way that they introduce that Tarantech character or the Beast at the same time, and the way they showed it was like it's like you know, like this is going to have to be something you're going to have to defeat. So I feel like it's going to be something like what we said. I think it'll be a new event, something that we've never done before. I don't think it's going to be a hero's journey. I think that Revan will be part of a hero's journey eventually. I think that the first iteration of Revan, though, the Jedi Revan that we're going to get, is going to be a character that we get through an event like this. And they may even sell him. I mean, you may even be able to buy the character straight up or do this event and get him over time. So maybe once a week, bi-weekly. Either way, I would love it because personally, I would rather, know that, I'm going to be able to get him over time than, have, 2 weeks to get all the rest of my KOTOR characters 7 stars, because I know that that's realistically not going to happen. So, we'll
who knows? Maybe the Tarantech's a marquee character and we don't get Revan.
Oh, maybe the reveal is the Tarantech. maybe Revan's still 2 years out.
Oh, that'd be wrong.
That'd be messed up. Yeah, maybe we just get the Tarantech. Maybe Revan and the Tarantech are part of a new territory battles, right? Maybe the
Tarantech could be the AT-AT, and then Revan could go to the Guild Event store, or your like your IPD or your Rolo.
Kind of like that. Yeah, maybe they have a new territory battles for Old Republic, and that would be cool. I mean, and I kind of feel like eventually. I don't know if it's going to happen right away, but I know that they're doing 2 separate new trilogies for Star Wars. One is going to be by Rian Johnson, the guy who filmed the last Star Wars film, unfortunately. But the other one is going to be by the 2 guys that write Game of Thrones. So that I have a lot of hope for. And I think that if they do something like that, I mean, being that they're kind of into that old school lore stuff and they're really into kind of keeping it by the book, I'm sure that these guys are Star Wars fans or they wouldn't be doing this. I don't know how big of Star Wars fans they are, but I'm sure that they're going to be looking into Old Republic stuff and kind of the history of the Jedi and the Sith. And I think that if anybody could tell that story in an awesome way, it's these guys, Benioff and Weiss, from Game of Thrones. I think if you gave them a trilogy and said, here, tell the story of how the Sith and the Jedi came to be, and they created like the lore for the new lore or the canon lore for the Old Republic, and kind of showed the original the original Mandalorian wars, and maybe they took their own liberties with it. They took their own take on it, which is fine. But if they converted some, at least some bits and pieces of the Legends material into a trilogy, that would be the coolest trilogy for Star Wars I could ever imagine. I would sign me up right now. Sign me up right now. I would wait online for that movie for 3 days. Okay, if they told me that like there was like a movie and Revan was going to be in this movie, and we're going to see like. Vitiate or like the original Emperor, and we're gonna find out like where the Sith like came from. We'll go back to like Korriban. I tell you right now, if that's a movie that Benioff and Weiss are doing, I'm all in, and that'd be probably, I'd be looking forward to that more than the next episode 9 or even episode 8. I mean, I want to see that movie more than I want to see another trilogy movie, another saga film for the Skywalker family. Right. I'll tell you that right now. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that would be really awesome. But we'll see. The Eternal Twins on the show, that could be cool too. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's so much material there. They got, you know, you got Naga Sadow. I mean, you got, you know, all that stuff that happened on Yavin 4. You got, you know, if you want to go really into the past, you could talk about the original planets. You know, the Bogan and Ashla, when they talk, where they originally discussed like that stuff's already canon. I mean, like in Rebels, you know, the character Bindu, which was the original name for the Jedi, actually, the Jedi Bindu was what they were going to be called. The character Bindu from the show Rebels says, oh, you know, he even mentions like the Sith and the Jedi, they wield the Ashla and the Bogan. So, I mean, that's already canon in the new Star Wars. So, they could easily kind of explain like where the Ashla and the Bogan came from. And I mean, listen, if Dave Filoni's behind it and he's like helping them, you know, kind of dictate the story and where it's going, which he's already, you know, he's going to be directing an episode of the show The Mandalorian. You know, he's already got, you know, another set of episodes for Clone Wars coming out. He's also behind the Resistance show, so he's going to have his hands on that too. So, you know, if he's touching Resistance, there's definitely going to be some Snoke stuff going on there, because Dave Filoni's not going to do a show without some lore behind it too. That's what he does. So, I'm excited. I mean, listen, this is a great time to be a Star Wars fan. I know a lot of people are upset about the last movie and, you know, whatever. Listen, I am too, but you know what? There's a lot of stuff besides the Skywalker saga for Star Wars that is kind of all... He is doing Resistance. He's just not... Maybe he's not going to be as hands-on with Resistance as he was with Rebels, but I'm pretty sure that they're not doing anything on Resistance without Dave Filoni saying it's okay. And he's probably going to have some ideas and have some input as to how they do that. Okay, well, maybe he's letting somebody else head it, but I do think that he's going to, you know, he's not somebody... He's going to want to make sure that the story is being told the way George Lucas would want it to be told. That's the way he is. That's all he cares about, okay, is that George Lucas's story gets told to everybody. So, I mean, whenever, you know, you think about somebody who wants, like, you know, the original source material to come out, I think that he's definitely going to always make sure that they try to stick to the source material. But again, he you know, he's going to be somebody who's kind of behind the scenes. I think kind of like Kathleen Kennedy, and like, I mean, he's one of those guys. So he's going to be one of those people that I think that they always kind of go to, you know, for advice, and, you know, kind of has his hands in a little bit of everything. So maybe he won't be behind specific shows anymore. I think he's kind of moving up the chain to the point where he's just going to be sort of an executive and, you know, part of that Lucasfilm story group. But he will, you know, definitely have some input on, you know, future movies. And I mean, I know they go to Filoni for, you know, knowledge about upcoming movies and, you know, whether they're doing... So, I mean, you know, any new director that's coming in, you know, to direct any new films, like, for example, Benioff and Weiss, when they come in, I'm sure they will be going to him for some advice. But I'm looking forward to whatever movie that they create. I'm sure it'll be something old school style. I don't think they're doing anything new. You know, I'm looking forward to the new content, because there's so much cool stuff they can do with the stuff that's already present in the Star Wars lore. I mean, like, you know, Mandalorians, the Sith, the Jedi, they could tell like that whole story, and it's basically they can redo everything. I mean, basically there's a blank slate right now, so we'll see. But there's a lot of cool stuff coming. I'm just looking forward to seeing what they decide to do with it. Hopefully they don't just disappoint and do like you know, some like hopefully they don't just do like what they did to some of the things. I mean, like, you know, I want to see like some gritty Star Wars stuff. Okay, I'm not saying, you know, kind of like Rogue One style, but, you know, with like some Jedi and Sith stuff. Okay, like, I mean, I want to see like where I want some lore. Okay, I want to know where the Jedi came from. Maybe they could do like a Yoda origin story eventually. Imagine like, finding out like where Yoda came from one day. I mean, that'd be cool, And we'll see, or find out like what it was like when Yoda was an apprentice, and that would be a cool story to tell. Or tell the story of Palpatine when he was an apprentice to Darth Plagueis, tell that story. Or tell the story of Malgus, or tell the story of Darth Bane, or tell the story of Visas Mar, and all these other characters that we have that we need to know about. I mean, and they could change it a little bit. It doesn't have to be exactly the way it was written in the books. I mean, it'd be cool to see Grand Admiral Thrawn in a movie. At some point. I mean, they still got that Ezra Bridger story to tell. That's still happening at some point. I mean, Ezra and Ahsoka are out there. That story is not done yet. Okay, so there's going to be an Ezra and a story, and Ezra and Thrawn and Ahsoka story at some point. We're going to find out eventually what happened to Thrawn and Ezra. They're just gone. Okay, so we got to know what happened there. And eventually they're going to go there, okay? So we need to know like where Thrawn is, where Ezra went, and Ahsoka and Sabine are going to go look for them. So that story is happening at some point too. Maybe it'll happen 3 years from now. Maybe it'll be a live action thing. I don't know, but maybe it'll be a movie. Maybe it'll be a 2-hour cartoon movie. I would go watch it. That'd be awesome. Awesome. So I mean, there's a lot of things they can do and a lot of things to look forward to. Yeah, Timothy Zahn. He was involved with all the Thrawn stuff. So, I mean, let's go watch Ezra be Snoke. That would be cool. Ezra Snoke. I mean, listen, there's still going to be some reveals, too. Some things like that are going to happen. They have some really cool old-school characters, though, too. I mean, Vitiate and Valkorion. I mean, again, I don't think they're going to go exactly the way it happened in the past. But, they also could revisit. I thought that Ezra was going to end up being Darth Vader's apprentice, and I thought he was going to take the place of Starkiller from the lore. So I thought like eventually we were going to get Ezra being Vader's apprentice and becoming Darkseid. I thought that's how Rebels was going to end. Okay, the way it ended was a surprise to me. I did not expect it to be like that. I expected Ezra to go Darkseid and to kill his master. I expected him to kill Jesus, I can't believe his name is escaping me right now, but I expected him to kill Caleb, I think that at some point they will visit, especially in the comics. I know for sure. Maybe in some sort of a game. Kanan, yes, Kanan. Kanan's real name is Caleb Doom. I called him Caleb, but Kanan was his master. I thought he was going to kill Kanan and kind of become Darkseid, but he didn't. So what I think is going to happen now is I think that sometime here in the future they are going to revisit Vader having some sort of secret apprentice, behind Palpatine's back. So I mean, if that's going to happen at some point, that character will kind of take over what Starkiller was in the lore. And he could be some super powerful character that just doesn't, we never see him because he dies before the trilogy, right? But it'd be kind of cool if they reintroduce that, some character between the two stories that's there. Maurice, you're gone.
What?
You disappeared on the screen.
Okay. Don't know, man.
I will fix it.
Oh, I closed the Hangouts out.
You closed the Hangouts out, Maurice. No! That's okay. So you're there. Anyway, so, yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see that. I do hope that they go that direction. No, we're not all gone. We're back. Okay, it was just there for a second, but I had to fix Maurice's screen. He had X'd out Google Hangouts because, listen, there's always some sort of technical difficulties on the Alliance Live show. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the Alliance Live show, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm hoping that we get something like that. I mean, there's like, but what I'm saying, the moral of the story here is, just to kind of wrap this up, because I've been rambling now forever. I think Maurice is like probably wants to fight me at this point because I'm just talking so much. But there's a lot of stuff to tell. There's a lot of stories to tell. There's so many things that they've kind of set up for the future, and there's so many things that now, because the canon is officially wiped out and they can kind of retell that story, there's so many things they can do now. I mean, listen, in Rebels, they open up the door, they kind of opened up the Pandora's box there with the ability to go and travel into a past event and change what happens, because Ezra actually pulls Ahsoka from her death and takes her away from that fight with Vader. And now, I mean, I don't think they're going to be doing that a lot. I don't think that the Star Wars is going to start changing time, okay? But I mean, but it's possible. So technically, in the world of, inside of a Jedi temple, or in this world between worlds, you can go there if you're, a special Jedi and do this. And Ezra's story's not done yet, so we know now that he lasts, outside of the original trilogy. So, I'm sure his story will be told at some point. Maybe he's still alive in the new trilogy with Rey and Finn. Maybe episode 11, 12, and 10, 11, and 12 will be Ezra. Who knows? But I think it'll be something completely different. I think they're kind of trying to stay away from it being tied to a specific bloodline or a family. So I think that we'll get a lot of cool stuff in the future. But they could go KOTOR, they could go Old Republic. They kind of tell the story of the original Ashla and Bogan and the planet Titan, where the Jedi came from, and kind of how they came to be in the first place. They can talk about the great Sith Wars from the past. They can talk about the original Emperor Vitiate. They can talk about Mark of Ragnos. They can talk about a lot of different Sith. They can talk about Korriban and talk about the original Sith race and when the Sith came, where the Sith originally came from there too. And again, they could do, a Thrawn thing. They could also talk about, they could do a Snoke solo movie, a Yoda solo movie. I mean, we've already done. I don't really want to see a Boba Fett solo movie, to be honest with you. I don't really think that that's super interesting. I mean, I think that that's kind of limited. I kind of feel like the same way with the Han Solo film, like where there's no stakes involved there, right? I mean, like, I get doing a Yoda solo film because there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about Yoda, right? I mean, like, he's really old, and there are some tales that there's probably some stuff that Yoda's been through. But what I'm saying is with Solo, I mean, you kind of know the beats that are going to happen already, right? And it's not really super exciting because you know that at some point, this guy's going to, at some point this guy's just he's gonna win the Millennium Falcon. He's gonna, meet Chewbacca. He's gonna do the Kessel Run and in 12 parsecs, and then he's gonna live at the end. I mean, there's no stakes in the movie at all. So it's like, it's kind of tough to get emotionally invested in a film where you know that this guy's gonna live for another 30 years. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to this other stuff, they can tell some really seriously awesome stories where we don't know what the outcome is, and that would be cool. So hopefully they do some stuff like that. We'll see. Anyway, I've been rambling now forever. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that, Maurice?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I think you covered everything. So,
yeah.
We're good to go.
By the way, what happened in the McGregor fight? What happened? I didn't see it on Saturday. What happened?
Oh, I didn't watch it.
Okay, I got to look it up now and find out. But okay, so yeah, basically, I mean, like I said, I just want I want to see some cool Star Wars stuff. I've been waiting for this for a long time. Okay, I mean, listen, I'm not talking about just Luke Skywalker stuff. I mean, listen, yes, when they were going to a new solo film or new saga film for Luke, and we got the old Luke back, I was really hoping that we'd see some cool Luke stuff. But I mean, being that that's past and gone now, Luke is become one with the Force or whatever. I want to see some real Jedi lore. I mean, I want to see some 2018 graphics fighting with some cool Jedi saber fights. And then I want to hear about how, you know, the Jedi came to be and how they were originally, like, you know, gray and not fully light side, and they were kind of like somewhere in between, and that, and how their first like real tiff or their real beef with the Sith started. That kind of stuff would be cool. So, you know, there's a lot of ways you can go with it, and obviously there's a lot of characters that they can use from the lore to tell that story. I mean, they could insert Darth Revan. Revan's canon storyline has not been written, it's not been told, so they can do whatever they want and tell a cool story. I just hope that whoever they do choose to do that, it's not like some powder puff story. I hope it's something that really has some substance and really kind of tells like an interesting, intriguing story that can kind of be told over the course of 3 movies and kind of get us hyped up for like a whole other era of Star Wars, because that would be cool. Right, and a new TV show, so, you know, we'll see. We got 2 new TV shows, 2 live-action TV shows coming out next year. Disney streaming service is starting. We have the Resistance show coming, the new episodes of Clone Wars coming, and then we have a new movie coming next year as well. And then we have 2 new trilogies to look forward to, one by David Benioff and Weiss, and the other by Rian Johnson. So, you know, there's a lot of Star Wars stuff coming down the pipe, and, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. But do we have any more questions? Anybody else want to, chime in any other topics we want to discuss here? Because otherwise, I think we're going to wrap it up here.
The sky colors red. Volcanoes erupt.
Yeah. I mean, I hope. What's cool about it though too is for this game, right? That means that they're adding a lot of content for this game up the road. So I mean, I think we're going to get some characters from the show Resistance. I think we're going to get some characters from the Mandalorian show. I think we're going to get some characters from the Clone Wars when that comes back. And I still think that there are some characters from the last trilogy film, from Rogue One. I'm not Rogue One. I'm sorry, from Last Jedi. And then also from the new trilogy film coming that we're going to get as well. So we got, probably a Mando tag coming. Maybe we'll get maybe we'll get that original Mandalorian Jedi, Vizsla. That would be awesome. Tar Vizsla. That'd be cool. We'll see. Anyways, guys, I've been talking forever now, and it looks like Maurice is already starting to think about work tomorrow. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap it up here. Green Milk Luke. Yes, Green Milk Luke. Blue. I think it's Blue Milk, right? Blue Milk Luke. No, listen, after this game is done, okay, it's not going to just be done. All right, there's going to be Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes 2, okay? This game has been too successful for them not to increase the graphics a very slight bit and then release the game again with the same characters over again. Okay, so I think that without a doubt, like when Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is done, we're getting Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes 2 with maybe a slightly different format and some new things, some new fancy stuff that we don't have in the game right now. But we'll see. Anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I'm sorry I haven't played any Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes at all. I've just been kind of rambling for now about 40 minutes. But I definitely look forward to finding out what's going on with Revan. We'll get some more information over the next couple of days, and as we do, I promise I will make a video about that to kind of describe what's going to be happening, what my plans are for my account. Maurice and I will be back next Sunday. You can also check out Maurice and T-Money on Tuesday night on the Operation Metaverse channel for their live show, and we'll probably all be together again next Saturday for the Jedi Academy. I want to also give a shout out to the Alliance Legacy for defeating Wallet Warriors in the past territory wars. Congratulations to them for sure. That's a pretty big accomplishment. That's one of the top guilds in the world. So they've definitely been through a lot of stuff getting the guild ready to be a highly high level competitive team. So congrats to them on that. And we'll be back next week with some more content. I'll also have a review coming out for the movie Venom. I was able to see that last night, so I'll be putting out a review for Venom probably either later tonight or tomorrow. So look forward to see that if you care what I think. But if Maurice doesn't have anything else to add, I want to say, may the Force be with you guys, and we will see you next week. Later, guys.